The oceans of our planet stretch endlessly, vast and merciless, veiling countless secrets beneath their surface. For generations, explorers and seafarers have ventured into these unknown waters, returning with stories that defy belief. Among such accounts, few have inspired as much fear as the legends of ghost ships, vessels found adrift, their crews mysteriously vanished or frozen where they stood. Some of these tales exist only in maritime folklore, like the cursed Flying Dutchman, forever condemned to wander the waves. Yet others are chillingly real. Throughout history, ships have been discovered floating aimlessly, their decks silent, their crews gone without a trace or found lifeless under circumstances no one could explain. One of the most enduring mysteries is that of the Mary Celeste, discovered abandoned in the Atlantic with no struggle, no damage, and no reason for her desertion ever determined. But among the legends of the sea, one tale stands above all, darker, more haunting, and unforgettable. The story of the Octavius, the ship entombed in ice, frozen in both time and terror. The legend of the Octavius begins in 1761. That year, the proud British merchant vessel docked in London, preparing to load cargo for a long voyage to China. Her crew was skilled, her captain ambitious, and with him sailed his wife and young son, ready to endure the perilous expedition across the globe. The journey eastward unfolded smoothly. After more than a year at sea, the Octavius reached China safely, discharged her goods, and was readied for the return home. But it was during this preparation that the captain made a fateful decision, one that would forever secure his ship's place in maritime legend. The weather that year was unusually mild, and rather than follow the traditional route back around Africa's Cape of Good Hope, he resolved to attempt what no vessel had ever completed, the fabled Northwest Passage. This treacherous Arctic route through northern Canada promised a shorter path to Europe. Success would mean glory, and his name carved into history. With calm seas and clear skies, the Octavius turned north. At first, fortune seemed to favor them. The ship cut through the still waters beneath pale northern suns, her crew hopeful, their spirits high. But the Arctic is an unforgiving realm. As they pressed deeper into the ice-choked passage, the temperature plummeted. The once open water narrowed. Jagged floes closed in, and the wind grew cruel. The Octavius was about to meet her doom. Without warning, a violent freeze seized the region. Ice gripped the hull like iron claws, imprisoning the ship in a frozen labyrinth. The crew worked desperately to break free, but the cold was relentless. Frost crept over the decks, and soon the Octavius was locked fast within a field of solid ice. Weeks bled into months as the endless Arctic daylight gave way to the black stillness of winter. Food ran low, fires sputtered, and the chill sank into every timber of the ship. One by one, the men succumbed to starvation and frostbite. Some died at their posts, others in their hammocks, wrapped in threadbare blankets that offered no warmth. Their hopes of rescue faded with each silent sunrise. The Octavius became a drifting tomb, trapped within the polar wilderness. For years, the ship remained sealed in the Arctic's deadly embrace, unmoving, untouched, carried slowly by unseen currents through a world of endless snow and shadow. Then, in 1775, 13 years after she had last been seen, fate brought her back to light. On October 11, 1775, in the icy waters west of Greenland, the whaling ship Herald braved the bitter winds, searching for one last catch before the Arctic season closed. The sky was heavy with fog, the sea gray and restless. Then came a cry from the lookout, a ship drifting through the mist. The captain of the Herald, expecting another whaler, ordered the vessel to approach, but as the outline emerged from the haze, unease swept over his men. The stranger's sails hung in tatters, its rigging dangled like ghostly webs. Frost coated every surface. No voices called back, no movement stirred on deck. The Herald drew alongside, and through the ice-streaked fog, the name on the stern came into view. Octavius. A thrill of dread passed through the whaler's crew. A ship abandoned in Arctic waters meant either misfortune or death. A boarding party was assembled. 5 men climbed into a small boat and rowed toward the lifeless vessel, their oars slicing through the freezing surf. When they clambered aboard, the silence was suffocating. Ice cracked beneath their boots, and the creak of wood echoed like whispers of the dead. The men searched the deck. Empty. Below, the shadows deepened. Then they found him. A sailor frozen where he fell, his expression twisted in silent agony, his eyes open and glassy. As they pressed onward, more bodies appeared, each locked in their final moment. Some sat at tables, others clutched tools or huddled under thin blankets. The air was stale, heavy with the cold of death. At last, the first mate reached the captain's quarters. The door resisted, then swung open with a brittle groan. Inside, the captain sat motionless at his desk, a quill frozen in his hand, his lifeless eyes fixed upon the logbook before him. Nearby lay a woman and a child, his wife and son, wrapped in blankets, frozen together in their final embrace. A sailor sat near the hearth, tinderbox in hand, as if he had died trying to summon warmth that never came. Nothing had been disturbed. Time itself seemed to have stopped. The boarding party, overcome with terror, fled the cabin. Before leaving, the mate pried the captain's log from his hand, the ink half frozen, the pages brittle with frost. They rowed back to the Herald in silence, leaving the ghostly vessel behind. The captain of the Herald, shaken, ordered the Octavius to be left to the sea. As the fog thickened, the doomed ship faded once more into the Arctic mist. That night, the salvaged logbook was examined. Its surviving pages told a grim story. The Octavius had departed London in 1761, reached China successfully, then set out for England by way of the Northwest Passage. Early entries spoke of calm seas and optimism, but later pages darkened with despair. The ship became trapped by ice, supplies dwindled, and death crept ever closer. The final entry, dated November 11, 1762, marked their position at 75° north, 160° west, deep within the Arctic Ocean near modern-day Point Barrow, Alaska. By the time the Herald encountered her, the Octavius had been frozen for more than a decade, drifting slowly across the pole, guided only by currents and fate. The crew, preserved in the eternal cold, had become ghosts of their own voyage. The Octavius vanished again after that sighting, never to be found. Some believe she sank, her timbers crushed by ice. Others claim she still wanders beneath the northern lights, crewed by the dead. The Arctic keeps its secrets well. To this day, the fate of the Octavius remains one of the most haunting mysteries of the sea, a frozen monument to human ambition and nature's unrelenting power. For 13 years, she sailed in silence, guided by no hand, carrying only the memory of those who dared to conquer the passage and instead became a part of its legend.